why I identify as an optimistic pessimist? First off, this term comes from the Living Dictionary called Regaining American Democracy, which is included at the back of the book referenced below. For me, this descriptor means that I believe people can do better in general, Americans specifically, but I know they won't, at least in the near term. The way in which I believe people can do better is basically how they treat one another. As has been stated time and time again on this blog, the most important way in which people can treat their fellow man is by being more compassionate in the distribution of resources. While some, a minuscule number of Earth's population, are given much more than what could ever be considered their fair share of resources, a vast majority are forced to divide and survive on the ever-shrinking remainder. Whether it's food, water, or shelter, there is a group of elite who continually extract the wealth of everyone else. They do so under the guise of being deserving of such privilege. And while this implicit claim may be warranted for some of the individuals whose efforts do improve the lives of others, even in those instances, the extent to which they should be allowed to extract others' wealth should never result in the suffering, misery, and deaths of hundreds, thousands, millions, or more. Not a single billionaire should exist as long as there is a man, woman, or especially a child whose life is threatened by lack of food, water, and shelter. No matter what deity or religion in which you believe, the ways in which you live this life should never be considered inconsequential or irrelevant to the ways in which you live the next. While things like theft and murder may be apparently and inherently recognized as wrong, ignoring the plight of others is not recognized as so. To be honest, this not even self-serving, because if one ignores the plight of others, that plight could become their fate. This is basically to say that no one should forego the tangible necessities of their earthly existence to be allowed into the kingdom of heaven or their version of the afterlife. A child should never be made to suffer in this life to receive priority for entrance into the next. To suggest this as a possible requirement for that next life is, in my opinion, to suggest an afterlife to which I would never want to go. Hear me out. If suffering helps you get into the next level of existence, imagine how miserable everyone in that next level will be. Imagine the insufferable stories of those trying to top your stories of woe. Imagine hearing someone recant one of the following tales. Well, I had to live on 1 grain of rice a day, or, well, my family would have to split that 1 grain of rice amongst 10 people and we all lived in a cardboard box, or, what? You guys had cardboard? They didn't even make cardboard in my country, and the only thing we had to wipe ourselves with after defecation was our left hand, so we could split that grain of rice and eat with our right hand. And, in case you haven't noticed, I got caught stealing rice, so they took my right hand. Talk about eating where you shit. As for individuals who have actually improved life on Earth, those who have literally made life better, many have been doomed to an afterlife in hell or the equivalent because of the wealth that comes with such innovation. As just one example, let's look at Elon Musk. His company SpaceX recently saved 2 astronauts who were stuck in space for months, but because of his exorbitant wealth, a camel is more likely to pass through the eye of a needle than Elon is to be accepted in the kingdom of heaven. The exact phrase is, "It is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God." And given that Elon is the richest man, or at least one of the richest men, it sounds like he's not getting into heaven, at least not according to Matthew. Personally, I would much rather spend eternity with Musk than the one-handed rice-stealing poor guy, but not if that means spending it in a lake of fire. So, back to my sunny disposition or positively negative outlook on the near term, I know that mankind has it within itself to end the suffering of millions or even billions of people. Collectively, we can end the suffering, misery, and deaths of so many who do not have the ambition, wherewithal, or means to improve their lives or the lives of their friends and family. Just consider those people in Gaza. Their only opportunity these days is to not get blown up for one more day. I wonder how those who manufacture and those who launch those bombs destined for Gaza would fare in the needle and the camel test. I mean, while we have the answer as far as those who build the bombs and subsequently get rich off of those bombs, those guys better buy life vests that can withstand an eternity in a lake of fire. But what about the guy or gal who shoots the bomb and kills a bunch of people? What special pocket awaits those who did the bidding of that evil rich person? Are they going to be riding on that rich person's camel as they approach that judging needle? This is where the pessimist in me comes out. We have all of this technology to feed one another. The same holds true for providing clean water and shelter, but the majority of us accept the illogical belief that 1%, or actually less than 1% of our species deserves to hoard so much as to cause the suffering, misery, and deaths of millions. Mankind can do better, is what the optimist in me will say. But what trends indicate that we have the will to do better is the rebuttal of my pessimistic side. Where's that freaking needle? There are plenty of blogs, news, and websites reporting and complaining about our leaders and their failures. How many, however, are offering or even pointing to any solutions? The book Solutions, Enough Complaining, Let's Fix America by Chris Osman does and can be found on Amazon or at www.mikesonsentertainment.com. To find out other ways you're being screwed by your current leaders, check out the posts on this blog daily. Learn about the biggest and worst issues that America and its people face today. You can also check into this blog daily to hear about those issues that America and its people will face in the near and distant future. If, however, you would like to discover possible solutions to either mitigate the worst impacts of these issues or solutions to avoid them altogether, keep listening. The problems we face are not as complicated as so many leaders and news reports claim. They are man-made and are only claimed as complicated so those who are responsible can maintain control. For example, there is a persistent argument that moving government is like turning a cruise ship around. It is supposedly a long process that can only be achieved incrementally. While this may be true for laws and policies that benefit the majority of Americans, it does not seem to be so for that smallest of American minorities. When one examines the policies and laws that benefit that minority known as the elite or the rich, the speed at which those laws are passed is exponentially faster. While most of us sit on the deck chairs waiting for the Titanic to avoid the myriad of icebergs of which we seem to continually run afoul, the elite ride comfortably in speedboats. If, according to the Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal, why do the rich live quite different lives than the rest of us? Where is our speedboat? In 2018, Chris Osman wrote a book highlighting the problems humanity would face if more power, wealth, and control were funneled to a small group of individuals, groups, or organizations. In that book, Mr. Osman provides solutions, offered up from himself and others, to the inevitable problems we would all face. In it, he also provided a means for the public to analyze, compare, and contrast the words and deeds of those we've chosen to follow against our real-world experiences. To this end, Mr. Osman provides the means for readers to disseminate information as provided by their news sources of choice, their elected officials, and any other authority they choose to follow. The book, titled Solutions, Enough Complaining, Let's Fix America, offers a means to hold leaders up, not just to a higher standard than is currently accepted, but to one that will improve lives. Do you have a tiny camel or a giant needle for Judgment Day? Click the link below and get your copy of Solutions today.